what you want and are.
Hello, No Means Nerds. Welcome to episode 11, holy fuck, of No Means No Thing, or No Means Nothing, depending on your predilection. I'm Jordan.
I'm Matthew.
I'm Michelle.
And we are your erstwhile hosts in this ridiculous task of finding the best No Means No song of all time, which is a fool's errand, one which we are not qualified to undertake. Yet here we are, and you're joining along with us. And as usual, we're going to start it off with a complete non sequitur of what the fuck you drinking? So, Matthew, let's start with you tonight.
Okay.
What you got for us?
Well, I got a bunch of stuff. I mean, I've still got from last time. Let's see. I got actually quite a few options. I got some leftovers. This is the bourbon blood orange.
Oh, I thought it was you had leftover that you didn't
Wheat
open,
ale.
or that you already opened. All right.
All right, that one's already been that one's been voted off the island.
It goes back into rotation. I've got this one, which is a Belgian-style table beer, a Daggerad Brewery from Burnaby, where Rob lives, and it is called the Burnabarian. It's just sort of a lager. It's just a table beer.
Table beer. Aren't
I've
they all?
got from Victoria, British Columbia Brewery, Lighthouse Brewery, strawberry rhubarb wheat ale.
Oh God, come on! That's an insult. Strawberry rhubarb. Jesus, that's a fucking cake, isn't it? You don't mix business with pleasure. What's going on here?
Oh fuck!
And this one I'm super interested in. Moon Underwater, which is also a Victoria Brewery. The NEIPA. It's a hazy IPA, which I don't really like, but it's sea berry haze because it's got sea buckthorn juice in it, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Buckthorn,
and that is a weird orange berry, which is extremely invasive in Northern Europe, and everybody hates it there because it's very unpleasant. It grows everywhere, and the berries burst and get orange juice all over everybody. So I decided to grow it on my deck. Ooh. I like the flavor. It tastes like
burst those berries.
Sour keys.
You're like a fruit doctor. You know all these fucked up fruits.
And this one's used in cosmetics. It's a berry that's high in fat.
Do you work at Whole Foods? I mean, what do you?
Then I vote for the mascara beer or whatever it is.
What about you, Strangey?
I want whatever you want, man. I don't know. That's just
no. You got to vote. You can't. This is not.
I want
this is not
the
a game.
berry that explodes on the people. I don't know.
Okay,
yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm gonna.
We want the.
Oh, all right.
Sea buckthorn. All right.
Sweet.
The Scandinavians in the audience just went, "What the fuck? They actually made food out of that?"
No, exactly.
Well, this will be interesting.
Only in Canada. Well, and I'm I got my usual, well, not my usual. It's not a Marniac, it's old fashioned, and it's really fucking good tonight. Got a couple ice cubes in there. It's nice and wet in my whistle, as it is. And how about you, Michelle? Are you mixing it up, or are we going the classics?
Okay, I think I'm doing this for attention, which is really terrible, but at least I'm admitting to it. My housemate likes IPAs, and I fucking hate them. But I said to him tonight, do you think there's one in the fridge that I would like, even though I hate IPAs and they suck? So, he found one that I might be able to handle, and I might not. I usually make sound effects when I taste these things because I hate hops. So, fuck it. I'm going to try it anyways. This is the Cascade Lakes Brewing Pineapple IPA.
A pineapple IPA, that is two things that don't go together. I am very excited for you to drink that.
Wait, I don't have pineapple on pizza, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah, I'll get some pineapple on pizza. Are you kidding me? A pepperoni and pineapple is like, ooh, my jam, sweet all on up in there. But
it's invented in Canada. It's one of those things that people point to as a Canadian invention. So we have to be patriotic about it.
I thought you only had the sauce on the French fries. I thought
poutine or whatever that is.
Yeah.
And that's a Quebecois thing anyway.
Yeah, that's what fucking.
I don't even know what word you just
misappropriated it.
All right, well, good. Now we're all ready to get liquored up. I hope some of you we've heard from some of you at home that you like to pop open a brew, sit around the fire in the backyard, or hopefully not as you're cruising down the road and enjoy the podcast. So pop one open if you got them, and let's dive in. let's dive into this really. So here's my catchphrase: a really interesting set of songs. But this fucking set of songs is weird. And here's what I want to say about it. Here's what I want to say about it. I'm actually really refreshed. Last week was so heavy for me because I love those songs so much, and I was so nervous, and it was so hard to talk about them. I don't really feel too much anyway about any of these songs tonight, and I'm looking forward to just sort of talking about them. I don't feel the pressure because, it's not. They're all good songs, but none of them are my babies. They're cousins, maybe, or nephews.
Yeah, the last two were really tough. Is actually they stressed out about wanting to, really get all those feels out and everything like that. But these ones are, it's a really weird set of songs. Each song is sort of has strange aspects to it.
Indeed, it's a palate cleanser. It's a little palate cleanser.
Right.
This beer's pretty good, by the way.
Oh, nice.
I haven't sipped mine yet. I don't dare.
Please, okay, well, we're not starting until you take a sip, so fucking do it. I want to see the face.
Here it goes.
Ladies and gentlemen, she's taking a sip. It's got a nice head on it.
God.
Ooh, that is not going down well.
I don't like hops. Fucking hell.
All right, well, before each of your rounds of talking, you have to take a big chug just to give some flavor. All right, everybody. So you most likely already know again what the matchups are here, but just to put it out there, our first pair in the arena, we've got Love Thang from Sex Mad, 1986. And a little note on this: this is was originally only on the U.S. version of that album. In the Canadian version, this was substituted out, or actually, I guess it was the original. It was Hunt the She-Beast, and apparently Jello liked Love Thang better and wanted that on the U.S. version. And you know what? Good work, Jello. I gotta say, good fucking work. That was a good choice. Anyway, so there's Love Thang is the first one.
Can he do that?
He did.
How? But can he?
Well, he talked to Andy.
Oh, all right. At least he didn't just do it and say, "Fuck no. I like this better."
It was in discussion with him. Yeah, and it goes up against Joy off of a few things. Worldhood of the World as Such from 1995, which is where most of us know it from, and then subsequently In the Fish Tank, that EP from 1996, and then also tucked away in the Victim's Choice medley on 0+2. Nice. On the Victim's Choice medley in 0+2 = 1.5. There's a little non-lyrics version in there. So,
which I don't think I'd ever consciously noticed.
I didn't until just last time I was listening to that. I'm like, wait, what is this? Happy Bridge? That's not Happy Bridge. What is that? And I realized, oh, fuck, that's fucking Joy tucked away in there. So yeah, absolutely.
Right.
All right. So first, we're going to let Michelle talk about Love Thang, but let's hear a little clip of this lovely thing.
Try to kill a guy. It's just an extension of what we all feel for each other. That's the point in our lives. It's a love thing. We got something for you. It's a love thing. We got something for him. It's a love. It's a love. It's a love. Johnny and Johnny with a singing tree. K-I-S-S-I-N-G. Love. Take up marriage. Take up the president of the United States. Now Pennsylvania Avenue in a jet.
All right, Michelle, what you got for us on this?
Lovely thing. I like that. Yeah. All right. Fuzz Central here with the vocals. Yes. John's crash cymbal work is a fucking hoot and a thrill to listen to. This song's urgency is juicy as fuck. I especially dig Rob's cheeky bass part in Andy's spoken sections, which is in the time signature of 8. The main part of this song is in the time signature of 6, which is not so common with this band. Most of their songs, believe it or not, are in 8. we'll talk about that later when those certain songs come up that makes them sound like they're doing some like 21 thing or 17. They're not. They're playing an 8. I like the ending with the heavy breathing, and I think we'll go into the lyrics here maybe at the end. But he says, "What a pathetic soul" at the very end. I think that's what he says. But I have some other. Yeah, I have 2 other misheard lyrics. One of them I think I've got right. The other one, it's another one of those where I know it's completely wrong, and I'm going to embarrass myself. But I'm going to tell you what I think he's saying. So I don't know when you want me to put that in there.
Do it now.
Do it now.
Let's hear it.
Do it now.
Yeah.
All right. So the carriage one, I think he's saying dead carriage. That's what I think. I don't know if it's right. We can fight. We can have a bet. And then I wish we could hear it, but I think Andy says, "I've got some stuff." Do you know which one?
I know what you're talking about. I've got some stuff. Yeah. I like that.
That's what I say when I hear it, and that's what I've been hearing ever since I ever heard it. I've got some stuff.
Oh, I love that. That's fucking great.
Yes.
That's great. Yeah, that dead carriage thing, like, it makes the most sense because the rhyme is first comes love, first comes marriage, then comes baby in a baby carriage, right? That's the saying, so it makes sense. But I only hear one fucking syllable. I can't. It sounds like cage to me, even though carriage is what it should be.
Oh,
but I can't hear 2 syllables.
Yeah, it definitely ends in a j sound for sure.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be. It's the only thing that makes sense. It's just I just can't hear 2 syllables.
What's a dead carriage?
I don't know.
Baby carriage?
Oh, you know what it is? I bet you it's like
the horse-drawn thingy.
I was going to say the horse-drawn, like Kennedy getting drawn down the fucking in the dead carriage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think we've just blown it wide open, folks. Anyway, you got anything else, Michelle?
No, that's it. It's your turn.
Nice. No, it's Matthew's turn.
Matthew's turn.
Well, let me blow it open a little further for you. I blew my own mind about 5 minutes before recording. Actually, sort of was going up the stairs. I was trying to like suss out that last thing. Pathetic soul, emphatic soul.
Emphatic soul is what I hear too.
Yeah.
But you don't think it's a pathetic soul?
It could be either. I wrote down pathetic. Yeah. I'd always heard emphatic. I don't know which one makes more or less sense. Maybe pathetic, but okay. I started thinking about. Then you get the president of the United States going up Pennsylvania Avenue in a dead carriage. I always heard debt because of for years and years because it's the president. And then on my way up the stairs, I'd been sort of thinking about is it Joni and Johnny? Is it Johnny and Johnny? And then I'm like, wait a minute, who was it who shot Reagan in 81? John Hinckley. He was trying to impress Jodie Foster, and Johnny sitting in a tree. So this song, in that context, makes so much more sense.
Wow.
So much more sense.
Oh, shit. You've just blown my mind completely off of
Wait a minute. Jodie Foster and what was his name?
John Hinckley.
Johnny Hinckley.
He was obsessed with Jodie Foster from her being a 12-year-old in
Taxi Driver.
So he tried to kill Reagan to make him notice her notice him.
Was it Taxi Driver? Christ. Did I just embarrass myself?
No, it's Taxi Driver, yeah.
Oh, that's right, yeah. All right, I got it.
Fucking shit.
Wow,
that is a
you won
good
for
pull.
the day. You won the internet.
That's a good pull. Hell yeah.
Look at that.
Okay, we'll talk about the song itself. Guitar, amazing. Love the loud and quiet parts, of course. The humor, of course. This is a song about obsession, and that love and hatred are 2 sides of a coin, and just flips very, very easily. The bass isn't too forward in the song, except for that.
I love that so
mostly
much.
It just follows the guitar, but I love the guitar. That it's so insistent and obsessive and scary. The upward 3 notes, so great. I'm always a sucker for Andy's scream, and also his sort of faux rational academic bullshit language. Such an extension of what we all feel at some point in our lives. I love this song.
Bullshit language.
When you're from Victoria, you hear that a lot. I loved the song as an angsty teen because of the obsessive. I probably was had a lot of crushes listening to this, like riding around Victoria thinking about a girl, getting my teenage angst out. It's really, really great, really passionate song. But then Andy's vocals, it's always just like every syllable almost is like a little poke in the ribs and the eye. It's just, man.
What's he do to get ready for this? Does he just sit there in a corner before he's got to sing and just start doing this Rocky shit? Like, how does he get ready for this?
I love the song. It's really got a feeling of chasing or being chased. It's sort of both sides. And then of course the heavy breathing and a couple in the middle and then right at the end. It's not heavy breathing from having performed the song. It's heavy breathing from running after somebody. I think very conscious decision to stick it in there. And of course a Love Thang is something you stick in there. A song about self-hatred and obsession. So and then I got a gun. I never really noticed that right at the end. He says, I got a gun. And,
Nice. Yeah, man, that's fucking great. I think that's again, being in the position in the last, you guys have said a lot of what I want to say. That's totally it. I will say, so from my own personal perspective, in terms of where this song sits in the pantheon for me, and I'm probably pretty unusual, at least for a lot of my fandom of No Means No. The early half of Sex Mad was never my favorite. Like, I like the songs, not that I don't like them, but there's not something I would return to a lot. And so this song was never super high in my pantheon of something I'd go back to a lot. I'd go to the back half of that album a fuck ton. But the front half, just not so much for some reason. But I really loved sitting down, as I have with many of the songs doing for the podcast, and listening to this song fucking obsessively, just listening again and again and again, and really coming to appreciate it. I mean, some of the stuff you guys have already talked about, the guitar is fucking crazy. This is a real just demonstration of how Andy helped to define the early period of No Means No, and what a fucking crazy nuts guitar player he is, and his vocals, as you guys talked about, like where Rob can become like, can get into my guts as like this god of like destructive sincerity that's just like so earnest in a way that's painfully beautiful. Andy has this absolutely mind-numbingly great talent to just drip sort of a bitter sarcasm that I don't is unmatched. It's just I don't think I've never heard a vocalist that can do what Andy can do in the way that he delivers this.
Mockery. Which Rob doesn't really do. Like, are you going to be so stupid?
Exactly. But so artful, right? It's done. It's like an artist. He's a disaster artist, right? It's just this. It's
disaster artist.
It's just it's fucking genius. And so my view of the song from way back when was always way more pedestrian. I love this John Hinckley, Jodie Foster. I think that's totally it. Frankly, I have no doubt that it. We may hear that was the actual inspiration behind the song. It's the right time period too. Frankly, I always wondered, like, well, it's Johnny. Was this like, did John get fucking jilted by some chick?
Right.
Was a kind of a weirdly, because no, it's not John Tune. That was the other one. Never mind. But I just always wondered if it was slightly autobiographical, because it is sort of, although it's taken to extreme, it's sort of universal. And in the sense that maybe at least some of us have that feeling of how, especially I think early love can be so intense and yet so quickly flip to its opposite. That sort of a obsessive feeling, how it becomes its opposite so quickly, and it's just sort of it feels like this switch that's flipped, and that the energy of the guitar and the bass and the drums and that driving beat that they're all doing makes me feel that, right? It engenders that, and the way Andy, like you talked about the Andy scream and the way he builds up to it, where he's like and starts breathing really heavy before he screams. It's so good. And it just gets across that feeling of being jilted and jealous and fucking pissed off so much you want to shoot someone, which
And
I've
not
never
be-
been there, but you know,
unable to contain yourself anymore.
and not being able to contain yourself. And then the way it breaks down at the end where the guy's just a blubbering fucking mess. Like, it's just, it hits all the fucking notes. It's a really, really great fucking track. So I appreciated it much more sitting down and listening to it obsessively this time than I probably ever have. So I'm grateful for that, I guess. All right. Well, that's all I got to say. And do we have any, like, now that we've all heard each other, we got any final thoughts on this or anything before we want to move on?
I just thought of something. When you listen to these older tunes, it happens with me. Does a part of you go back to, like, you know, back when you were first hearing it for the first time, where you're like, you never lose that first initial couple of 3-4 times you hear it.
Yep.
You just like it's one of those things in your memory that just comes
Big
popping
time.
right back to the forefront.
I think
Big
Sex
time.
Med does that to me most often. There's most songs that sort of bring me back to,
Interesting.
really loving the band and feeling feels and remembering where I was when I heard certain songs and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
See, I didn't get to this album until after both. It was for me wrong. Small parts isolated, 0+2, and then I got to this one in terms of like where I was able to find it in record stores. So I've already gone through that whole period before I finally found this one. I think that's why the second half appealed to me more, because it was closer to the evolution of what they became in those other tracks, and the first half is just it's very different, but I fucking love it. It's great shit. Great shit. All right, well, let's move on to the second contestant. They're entering the arena right now, sword drawn, with a big old fat fucking smile on their face. Here is a little hit of Joy.
Joy, 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 joy.
All right, Michelle, talk to us about Joy and all of its joyous incarnations.
Joyousness. Yes, I will now. This song makes me feel good, and it does. I like the guitar solo work. I'm talking about the Worldhood version right now, by the way. I like the guitar solo work in the bridge sections, and there's a little bicycle bell that's totally cute. It's a simple song that delivers exactly what it says it's going to do, and then I wrote, yay! Now, I did listen to the other two, and I will go into those ones, and the Fish Tank Joy and the 0+2 = 1.5 Joy, they have similarities, much more than the World one compared with those two. I think they're both doing the same thing here, and Matthew, you're the drummer, so I hope you have a thought about this too, because this is a lot of pressure here. But what I think is happening, the reason it feels a little unsure of itself, is I think the section after the vocal part, when they go into the instrumental part, kicks in on the and of the 8. So normally you would have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, 8 and. and then you'd start again. But I think what they do is after they get to the number 8, instead of saying and, they start 1 of the next thing. I would try to count it out for you, and I tried to count it out today like a number of times, and I fucked up and it sounded stupid. So I'm not going to be put on the spot here and try to count it out now because I will fuck it up and you'll both laugh at me.
It just goes into 7 then?
No, I don't think so, because then it counts out a complete 8 to go to it's phrased as an 8.
So almost like it's missing the last, almost like it's missing the last half beat or something.
Yeah.
It just goes from 7 instead of 7 and 8 and it's just 8-1. Yeah, no,
8,
I can hear
1,
that,
and then when you do the 1, it goes to a complete count of 8. So I don't know if you could call it a 7.
Huh.
Maybe the first part is a 7. Maybe the first part's a 7. Maybe you're right, Matthew. Maybe the first part's a 7, and then they go into an 8, which would make it obviously a 15. So I don't know. I should re-listen to it, but that's what's sounding like the trip. That's what's sounding like you're getting tripped. Do you know what I'm saying? Am I fucking this up? Am I fucking this up?
You
now?
have this.
No,
you have
this
this terminology way better than either of us.
Yeah, but you're a drummer, so you get it. But
I don't think of things that way. I mean, play by ear only.
You're what?
He likes to pound the skins.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like part of the beat just dropped right off, and you're and started again with a new measure of a different time signature, and it makes you feel like they just tripped you on the stairs or something. Is it cruel? No, it's cool. Yeah, that's what I wrote about it. And the fish tank, Joy. Oh, come on, those cheesy keys. Oh my God, whoever found that thing in the closet and figured out how to turn it on and just sit there with like some fucking Addams Family. God, it was amazing. I love it. That was perfect. They just hold on that fucked up chord. It sounds great. All right, so that's all I got about it, and I hope what I said makes some kind of sense.
Well, it does to me. I think you're
just try to count to 8 and then drop off the end of the 8 and start with a 1 and then count a measure of 8 after that. I don't know. Drummers out there, I know I'm going to get pegged for it, but
I like your description of that. Like, that's where you trip, because that's what it feels like to me. It's
you're
like
expecting something to stop, and then they're like, hey, wait a minute.
It's like I hit the curb every time that happens, right? Yeah. Go up on the curb a little bit. Yeah, it's fucking great.
So I definitely, out of the two, the Worldhood one is just straight 8. It's just they're not doing that tripping thing. But the other two, the Joy and the fish tank, or the 0 + 2 = 1.5, and the fish tank Joy, those two are doing that trip thing. And I like that trip thing. That is clever as fuck.
Yeah. Interesting. That's really fucking interesting.
Yeah.
All right, Matthew, how about you?
Yeah, the adjective I wrote down was rollicking, because it actually that came up with the little medley version. Sort of, it's followed by Happy Bridge and then straight into Ghosts. It's very interesting to me that those two songs, because I'd always kind of, Joy is a little bit like Happy Bridge. And I guess they thought so too, since they're also part of the same composition originally. But then, for them to be associated with Ghosts is very, because it's Ghosts to me is a very, very heavy, dark, gloomy song. But I had never thought until you pointed it out that that version of Joy, without the word joy in it, on 0 + 2 = 1.5. Reminds me somehow, and I couldn't find this song, but it is a Showbiz Giant song called Country Ride on Demerol, and it has a similar feel to me. It's sort of like a tripping or skipping kind of weird, not quite all there ride through a landscape. So it reminded me a little bit of that. Joy as the first song on the first 3-piece album after Tom joined the band. Sort of, it did make me joyful, so I was very happy to hear it first.
Right.
It's the first word and the only word in the first song on a new album, and that was pretty awesome. It seemed like a nice transition, even though it was sort of written in that medley on 0 + 2 = 1.5 as a bit of a transitory track. So maybe it was like a transition from a previous era of No Means No. kind of interestingly positioned. I love the bike bell too.
Yeah,
I wrote the organ plus in the ska version. So hilarious. I mean, they're just having fun. Clearly, it's less polished, but and then that curt little hit at the end was like, bam.
Yeah.
And this is going to be extremely nerdy, but I have always been interested in the very, very linguistic terminology here, very ejective sound of the J in joy. Joy. It's very, very. It's almost spat. And
very
I actually
pronounced.
was in a phonology class, and I brought this out because there was a particular sound in Hungarian, not very common sound in other languages. It's actually in the Hungarian word for Hungarian, Hungary, and being a Hungarian, Magyar. And so like the j. I asked a linguistics professor and played this song for them. Is that the sound in Hungarian? And they're like, yeah, it's pretty close. It's actually totally not a regular j at all. So
How about that?
That's crazy. There's
Look
a
at you, Mr. Research. Holy shit.
It's really funny you say it. I don't want to barrel, but I want to tag on to that because it made me think there's this theater company that I still work with, but I worked with them more when I lived in New York, called Jeci, which is a Polish word. And that j, which is DZ, it's not J, but it has that same feeling for me, the Jeci, which means children. And it occurred to me when I was listening to Joy, that same sort of plosive, that sound. That's really
You're right. It's actually very close, very similar, similar sound. Not quite the same, but yeah.
But close, yeah. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
That's pretty much it. That's interesting that you and I had a similar observation.
Yeah. Not
highly nerdy observation.
I'm very nerd. The nerds unite.
Yeah, it's nerdy, but it's cool.
So yes, I stand that I stand that not cowbell. I stand the bicycle thing. Well, but the cowbell. There's fucking cow. You can't tell me there's not cowbell in that.
Oh yeah.
In that fish tank.
Oh,
version.
there is.
I love that cowbell, and I want to talk about I listened to it before and I loved it, and to me it feels very ska. Feels like a ska version of that song. But while the river on that LP, right? Most people's what they point to is like where the two drummers sound the best. It's thunderous and I love it, and we'll talk about that when we get to that song. But this song, the two drummers are fucking going crazy. Like I hear the two drummers doing way more on Joy than I do in the river, just in that sense of how fucking ballistic they're going and how much fun they're having. This song, clearly they were having the best fucking time recording this. The organ, they're laughing at the end. Matthew, you pointed out that little bang right at the end. It's just, they're living the title when they're recording this shit. Also, back to the Worldhood version, in general, I think No Means No just normally fucking nail opening songs. They just know what to use as an opening song. Almost, I'm not going to say every album, but almost every album, they just fucking nail it. And this was perfect for this album. It sets a tone.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This going into Humans, it's like, yeah, it's fucking perfect. And it's interesting, right? Because going back to that medley and realizing this was made probably as sort of a fun instrumental little interstitial. But yeah, no, let's make it the lead. Let's put some words on it. Let's fucking sing Joy and open up the album. And when I saw this tour, I'm pretty sure this is at the Maritime Hall show back when the one where Jello had to jump on stage and sing with them because Rob's voice gave out halfway through. They opened that with that song, which was perfect, right? You want them to open with Joy. It's just it's a great fucking opener on the album and playing live. I love this song. It just makes me bop along every fucking time. It's a great short little length, brilliant opening to this album. And I want to apologize to all of our listeners who were absolutely right. I feel 100% different now. No, Beat on the Brat still sucks. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about how I badmouth the production on this album. The more I listen to it, the more I realize I'm full of shit. I think it's actually good production. It's just much more rhythm guitar heavy or guitar heavy in a different way. And I just was hearing it different and expecting something different, but it's not
That's noble of you. Jeez.
No, that's wrong. I can admit
no,
it. It's
you're
very
a noble
rare.
Man.
It's very rare, but I can go.
So,
I guess we have to vote now, though, because I don't have much else to say about this particular song other than that I think it's a fucking jammer. So
Ooh.
We've got Love Thang
Holy
versus
shit.
Joy. And Michelle, you've got the enviable position of.
Hey, is
setting
this
us
the
off.
first time I voted first? No, it probably
No. I went back and
you-
looked at it today.
no.
We've all had pretty even rotations. on
Right. No, that's how you'll do it, of course. Oh, God. All right, I'm going to say it. I'm going to vote Love Thang.
Nice. All right, there's your vote. Matthew.
You know what?
I'm
I'm in the garage and I don't have a coin, so I'm gonna flip this washer.
Washer, it's the same on both sides unless you
can't-
lock
you can't
washer.
I marked it.
You gotta
I marked
reach
it.
in.
Are you serious?
I marked one side with red.
You gotta reach into your guts and tell us what you feel, man.
I dare you. No, flip the washer just for
Do it.
fuck's sake, and then give us your real
Okay,
vote.
red side Joy.
All right. So we're evenly split. That
It's
leaves.
Joy.
I love this. Nice. I love
Is
this.
that going to be
means-
your actual vote?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't decide.
So I'm
Wait,
not
that's
gonna.
not fair, because I thought I couldn't either, but I had to pull it out here. Hey, is this allowed? Hello?
Nope.
Okay.
Too late. It's locked in.
Oh, all right, no, all right, fine.
I
locked in.
actually would have voted Joy anyway because it's
all right.
one of these ones where I think I probably would have been trying to be the old me that loved Love Thang first, and I think just the Joy in Happy Bridge is a little bit more me these days, so I probably would have voted for Joy regardless. But it's a really near thing, and
Oh, God.
yeah, there you go.
Nice.
Wow.
Well, I get to walk the line here and keep the listeners in suspense because my vote fucking matters, and often the third
And
vote
me
doesn't
too.
matter.
Me
The
too, and us.
vote
Both
doesn't
of
matter.
us.
So, Love Thing, I historically didn't love. Didn't love. I really did fall in love with it this time, and I loved it a lot more than I did before, and I appreciate it. And in certain sense, it's more of a song, right? So on that note alone, it's got way more going on in it than Joy. So,
But
Joy, on the other hand, I've
here we go.
fucking loved forever, and it just makes me fucking happy. And my vote's for Joy. It's Joy. Sorry.
Oh,
it's
now
Joy.
I feel like a dick.
Don't. Why? Come on. It's better that we didn't all vote for it.
I like Joy
Both these
too.
songs- well, but I love Thing too. Both these songs
I didn't
are good.
flip a washer. This is horseshit.
No, it's better that at least one of us voted for it. Otherwise, now you get to be the one when people say, "Oh, Love Thing was better." You can go, "I know, I voted
No, it's
for
Love
it."
Thang. It's even
Love
got a
Thang,
little,
sorry, Love
like
Thang. Miss
thang.
Yeah.
Ain't no
This
thang.
this was tough. I think the flipping of the washer's pretty accurate. This is a tough one, really.
Right, okay, all right.
But no, it's nice when we're not all unanimous on these tricky ones.
How are you gonna wash your clothes if you just flipped your washer? All right. I'm sorry. But
Pause I got soapy water all over the floor.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, well,
You're very
listen,
strong.
we're going to let Matthew go clean up his washer, and we are going to introduce a new little segment that we're not quite sure who's going in yet, so there'll be a weird little edit here, which is unusual for us, but we're going to include our first listener-offered story. So I hope you enjoy this, and as a reminder, send us your fucking stories. We've had some great stories sent in. I cannot fucking believe how great this is to hear you guys and hear your stories.
Thank you all so much for sending that stuff in.
Thank you so much. And we want more. So again, record it on your phone, send it in to us at no means nothing podcast at gmail.com. That's no means nothing podcast at gmail.com. We want your origin story. And then we also want in a separate file if you want to give it, your what they mean to you, and then if you feel like it and have one, a separate file of your of a good no means no story. And so far you guys have been fucking killing it. So without further preamble, here's one of those stories. Don't know which yet.
Hello, my name's Ryan.
My name's Brent.
And we're from the You Don't Know Mojack podcast.
Now, Ryan, I asked you to do this for the No Means No Thing or No Means Nothing podcast. Great podcast that about one of our favorite bands, No Means No. They're asking for listeners to answer some questions. So I figured we'd do that and send this in.
Light them up.
Okay, well, the first question is, Ryan, how did you get into No Means No?
Okay, are you gonna tell your story too?
Yeah.
Okay, so me first.
You first.
As usual. All right. So I got into No Means No through the Hanson brothers. And the Hanson brothers was the very first punk rock show I went to when I think I was maybe 13, 91, 92. It was the Gross Misconduct Tour, whatever year that was. I had no idea what it was. I heard it, and I was just starting to get to know what was punk rock and names like the Ramones and blah, blah, blah. But growing up in Canada, everyone would be saying here, they're just like the Ramones, but with hockey. And I was like, okay, well, I'll go. My very first show went, loved it. But I also kept on hearing they are basically this side project for this band No Means No. And first of all, I had no idea what the hell a side project was, but I was still just like learning all about punk rock. And one of my next shows that I went to was a road trip from my hometown of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, to the southern location of Regina, Saskatchewan, for my very first No Means No show. And it was at the university. Pretty sure a band named 12 Eyes was opening up from Winnipeg. And this was the Why Did They Call Me Mr. Happy tour. They played. It was insane. I was hooked immediately. But then they also came out and did an amazing first encore. Then they came out and did an amazing second encore with Rob on guitar and John on keys. And then they came out for an amazing third encore as the Hanson Brothers, because Kenny was touring with them. So it was a done deal. I got into No Means No. I heard a bit about them. I heard some of their songs, but I got into them by seeing them live for the first time, and it was a done deal.
Okay, I got into them through skateboarding, just like I got into almost all of the punk rock, quote-unquote punk bands that I got into very young. Started getting into the bands you would see in Thrasher magazine, like the big ones like Black Flag, Dead Kennedys. And in the small town that I grew up in, this guy, Dan, his mom moved to the town for work, and he came there for the summer to spend the summer with her. And of course, there was like 4 skaters in this town that I grew up in. So when you see someone skating down the street, you go and make friends with them. And he got me into No Means No. Live and Cuddly was the record that he dubbed for me. And he told me like some No Means No lore. He told me like that they were a Canadian band, which was, to me, this was 1989, 1990. So pre-internet. I was 14, 15 years old, around the same age you were when you got into them. So to hear about a Canadian band was pretty cool because, pre-punk Canadian to me was like Bryan Adams or whatever. So to hear that there was a band from Canada that, had legendary status, and he told me things like, on the album where Andy says always wear a safety pin on the bottom of your t-shirt because not only is it cool in punk rock, but it also comes in very handy sometimes. Yeah. He told me that was a thing all No Means No fans did. Which I'm not sure is true. But me and my friends started doing it immediately for the next several years. He also, in his art class in high school, I didn't look up where this came from, but I think it's on the insert of maybe the Sex Mad You Kill Me CD. There's a drawing of a guy injecting a needle into his arm.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it says fun or something like that.
Yeah.
He had a silk screen of that he made in art class. So we all got, I had an army jacket and I got that silk screened on the back. And we all got shirts made with that. So that's how I got into No Means No. And then I got 0 + 2 = 1 right when it came out. And I was off and running from there.
Right on.
All right.
Well, hope you enjoyed that. Thank you, listener, for your submission. And we're just sort of spitballing this. We're not sure when to include this content. So this is our first kick at the can in between our 2 pairs of songs. So I hope that works for you guys. We're always interested in your feedback. I hope you enjoyed the story. We did.
Absolutely. I certainly
Heck
did.
yeah.
Fuck yeah.
We are not alone.
More. All right. So round 2. The gladiators are entering the arena. On this side, the absolute origin story of No Means No, the very first fucking track they ever put on vinyl.
Brings a tear to your eye.
Look, Here Come the Wormies versus a song that is not on any canonical release and was only given to us in 2010. Now It's Dark. And I guess I didn't say, this is ridiculous. The first Look Here Come the Wormies was on a two B, like there was an A and B side, right? And it was Look Here Come the Wormies on one side and then SS Social Service on the other. And this was 1980, right? And then Now It's Dark was from the 0 + 2 = 1.5 sessions. So if you have that, you can find it on YouTube. If you haven't heard it before, definitely worth a fucking listen. So Look Here Come the Wormies versus Now It's Dark. And we're going to start with Look Here Come the Wormies. And I see some of the Wormies coming now, so let's let you hear a little bit of their slither. All right, I'm up first on this one. All right, guys, what am I going to say about this? So, first of all,
what are you going to say?
Yeah, I guess we're going to find out. Mad respect, first of all. This was their, first of all, I hadn't heard this. I was this many years old when I heard Look Here Come the Wormies. I had never sought this out. Didn't really know much about it. I kind of knew a little, I'd heard it about it rather, but never found it, never went to YouTube and sought it out. So it's really, really recent for me, right? I was stoked to listen to it. I had to find it on YouTube. Thank you, Matthew, for finally getting me an MP3 of that fucker, because you can't really find it anywhere. And I really love it in the sense that it's the origin story, right? Like this is I listen to it and I think, yeah, fuck it. This is the first thing these guys decided to sit in their fucking basement on that 4-track or whatever they were using, probably an old 4-track, and record. I mean, you gotta fucking love it. You gotta give respect. Is it my favorite No Means No song? Well, of course not. Had John been abducted by aliens and had the extra 2 arms sewn onto his body, allowing him to play in the way he would play later? No, of course not. Was Rob actually playing the bass like he would later and instead playing guitar like he was playing in a more traditional band in a style that he would never really do again except a few times in Mama? Of course. But it's a really fun song, and you can hear a lot of the DNA. I think especially
the DNA. I like DNA. That.
I think Wikipedia is telling me this is a John song, and a John is singing clearly, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. But you can really hear their nerdy fucking nature right at home. You've got let's see, celiomate, annelid, oligocida, all of which are different words for worms. You know, you've got those words flying around in here. These guys are like, yeah, we're fucking smart as shit.
They said that in the lyrics?
Oh yeah, big time. And the lyrics are actually pretty great. It's like, on the one hand, you can look at it sort of politically, like as this bourgeoisie nightmare of someone sitting in their home, paranoid about the socialistic fucking thugs who are going to dig up from their basement and tear down their lifestyle. On one, maybe I'm totally spitballing here. On the other hand, it could just be all of our, sort of from the position of a bourgeoisie asshole, our fear of death. Like, the worms are coming, they're going to take you and they're going to take me. So fuck it. There's no getting away.
No, it's the worms crawl in, the worms crawl out worms. They're eating the dead body.
Those are the ones playing pinochle on your snout, right? Yeah.
Right.
But they talk about the socialistic worms, right? Like, they bring that word in. You don't bring in the word socialistic worms unless there's a little, and bourgeois, like there's some other real bougie shit in there. So they're not on one level here already with their first song out of the gate. That said, like this song and Love Thang aren't that far apart in time. 4 years, 5 years, but fucking shit, how far they came. It's unbelievable that they could evolve from Wormies to that type of playing. It's
to Thang.
Absolutely insane to me. So I love this song in the sense that it's super fun and it's a great bit of, historical errata on that sense. But I don't know that I have a lot more to say about it. So I'm going to move on and let Matthew give his exegesis. What do you think of this, Matthew?
Yeah, I think if you took a look at the timeline, I don't imagine that. I'm sure that they got those words from Biology 11 because that was definitely the curriculum in high school in British Columbia around that time. So,
Worms.
And oligochaete and versus a polychaete. I still remember that. The dewy and nasal voice. I'm like, this is pre-nodules. This is before Rob figured out how to abuse his voice. I'm like, no, that's
This is
John.
not Rob singing, do you think?
No, it's not at all. It's
No, it's totally John.
I got you.
At first I was thinking about
I stepped on the joke. I'm sorry.
the guitar is wanky, and like you said, it sounded like more conventional. The keys are super wanky. I really like that sort of thumbing their nose at people who feared communism and socialism. Probably, I mean, there's definitely that kind of a current. There was it's kind of edgy to be socialist communist in Victoria at the time, and so they're probably poking fun at people who are worried about the Red Scare and all that stuff. Is like, why are you worried about socialism? We should be worried about the wormies because it's coming for all of us. Communism, whatever, who cares?
So it's gone from wormies to zombies.
They both
I love
people.
Messing with
Yes.
the tape noise, like the warped voices in the middle. Like that's
Yes.
definitely John playing with
Totally. Yeah.
with sound effects and stuff like that. Like this song
More
almost
DNA.
reminds me of like Mystery Science Theater 3000. It's like it
Of course, you guys watch that.
should have been covered by Man or Astro Man or something. But definitely the $10 words are from by 11 Reynolds High School.
This is great.
And this song, I realized I probably I didn't have it. I went and rummaged through my digital archive, and I don't think I ever had an MP3 of this. Where I had heard it before was on a tape, and this would have been in the, I'd say 97, 98. I was taking swing dancing with a girlfriend at the time. And
No kidding. Good for you.
yeah, and I got to talking with the instructor, and she's like, "Well, what kind of music do you like?" And I'm like, "Oh, my favorite band is No Means No." She's like, "No kidding. I went to I was in jazz classes with John Wright. I think I said
Holy fuck.
I have the 7-inch that he gave me around here.
Holy shit.
And
Did you get it from her?
No, she wouldn't give it to me, but she did tape it for me, and that was the only time I'd heard it. I played it on my radio show.
This is fascinating.
I've since misplaced the tape. Unfortunately, I'm still looking for it. But it was like back then. There was before the internet, or before I had access to the internet, and before you could sort of hunt for things. And it was sort of a holy grail. Wormies 7-inch. The radio station didn't have it. And so I'm like, oh my God. So that was my only time that I'd heard the song on that tape that I had that was taped for me by my swing dance instructor. And I know for sure that that my tapes got put into a box when I moved to Japan in 1999, and I have not heard it since then. I don't know what happened to the tape, but yeah.
Oh no. You gotta find it.
Such a funny little song, and you're right. It's definitely No Means No's DNA. The humor and the politics and the making fun of people. It's like all rolled into one with the beginnings of the musical chops.
Right.
So, yeah.
What was the other side of this album? Like I didn't look at that up right now. I mean, I know what it's called, but I didn't listen to it. Was it the same? Was it more punky? Was that on your tape?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
I'd have to look for it.
I'm gonna have to go. Maybe that's on YouTube, but I'd like to know what the other song sounded like. What did they pair it with? Right? Like what the fuck? Anyway, all right, Michelle, you're up. What do you think of this sucker?
My mind's still blown about being in jazz class with John Wright. I mean, is that a pants pooper or what?
That's a pants pooper.
I mean, holy shit. Oh, of course he was in jazz class. God. All right, look, this is a total can of cheese whiz from John Wright, and he's serving it up good. I like how it's echoey and creepy. You almost can't even hear the drums in some of the parts, and like, I forget which one of you said, it must have been made on that famous, because Rob talks about it, that I used to call it teak, but I heard it's TEAC. The TEAC 4-track Rob talks about. And yeah, I questioned, like, Rob is playing guitar on this, and I loved his little ditties, and he sounds great, and he's totally listening to blues music and farting around. And John's sound effects that he farts around with are a treat to listen to as well. I love this song for the foundation that it played in the emerging of this band. Like you said, Jordan, I like that you said the DNA. And I especially love how rare and hard to find and valuable this album is. I mean, it just adds this kind of this not haunted, but just like this mystery behind, like, oh my God, it's like it's finding the Holy Grail. It's like a buried treasure. But yeah, did they only make like, was this the one they only made 500 copies of, or maybe less?
Less.
Wow.
Yeah, this album, this is a little 7-inch, I think. This album is very rare.
Mm-hmm.
Very rare. So that's very cool and cute that he gave that to your dance instructor.
I wonder if he had a crush on her.
My
What was her name?
God.
Was her name Jody?
Oh.
Oh, was it? Nice segue.
Just, throwing it out there.
Yeah. So that's what I got to say about it. Cheese whiz. Total cheese whiz. Yeah.
Nice.
I gotta give a little shout out to one of our listeners, the Freaky Friday folkster Phil, who used to do the folk show after my radio show on Friday mornings, and he's a marine biologist, and he's probably like really enjoying the fact that I said polychaete and oligochaete on the podcast.
Oh no, that's cool. That's wicked cool.
Well, we're nerds enough. That kind of shit's gonna pop up somewhere.
Right.
All right, well, let's turn to Now It's Dark, which is, effectively an unreleased track. If it weren't for, I think mostly Andy pushing it out, but, I don't know the whole story behind 0 + 2 = 1.5, other than that he was instrumental in releasing it. None of us would have heard this shit. And much more well-recorded than just a demo. It sounds like a fully engineered song to me. So it's just one that they didn't feel like fit anywhere. So first, before I start diving into it, let's hear a little bit of this really crazy track. All right, so this is feels a little bit maybe too clever by half, but what kept coming into my mind when I listened to is this song felt like No Means No, sort of doing a Where the Wild Things Are via Clockwork Orange. Like it just felt like this crazy, fun, fucking banger about being that or how we equate dark that time after, especially when you're younger, that time after it gets dark when you just let your primal influences loose, right? Where things just get looser, the dark side comes out, your wild side comes out. You're gonna roam the streets and bark and piss, right? That's one of the lines in there, and it just that sense of you're gonna do things that are gonna make you feel that you're gonna feel guilty about in the light of day. But now it's fucking dark, motherfucker, and I'm coming for you. And it's also in that vein of Slade to some degree, and also like even Joyful Reunion, not in theme, but in a not a real person being the first person narrator. Like it's it's all from the first person perspective, but it doesn't strike me as really a person who's saying this. It's like it's a personality in somebody or a force in somebody, but it's not an actual person as much as it's one of the voices in your head or one of the or your id or something like that. And there's a lot of songs like that, right? Rob does that a lot. But this, I gotta say, like I was in a real bad mood today, frankly, from work. It fucking sucked. And driving home today, I put this on and it fucking lifted my shit right up. This song's a banger. This song's a banger. This would have been a pit pleaser had they played this live. People would have been fucking nuts in the pit with this song. The music is, maybe a little bit more straightforwardly punk in some ways, but so enjoyable. And the way that they Rob and Andy play their voices off each other and just ping pong back and forth in a bunch of the sections is fucking tight as hell. It is fun as fuck. And of course, lyrically, the content, as they often do, very dark, but sort of not a celebration of that darkness, but just a joyful confrontation with that part of yourself. And it has that feeling of being fucking young and being out after dark and just fucking raising hell and how good that can feel and how pumped you can feel. And of course, there's a lot more serious undertones in the lyrics as it goes along. But I really like this song. I guess why they didn't release it. I don't know that it would really fit on any of the albums really, but it's a great track. And I'm really, really glad that we got to hear it and that it got released. Because it's definitely worth being in the Pantheon. It's definitely worth putting out in this podcast in the mix. Because it's a fully fledged tune. This is not a demo. This is not a little half formed thought. It's a fully formed tune that I think is fun as shit. So that's what I got to say. How about you, Matthew?
Oh, totally. Yeah. It's basically a Hanson song. Which I love about it because it's.
I heard that too a little bit. Yep.
Yeah, which is cool because it's Andy in it. I love the dark, the different voices ping ponging back and forth. That's perfect. Perfect example. I agree with everything you said, Jordan, but I keep thinking of that illustration and I don't know where it came from. I think it was originally included in the fold. Maybe it was in Sex Mad or something like that, but it was a drawing. I think it must have been done by Rob, and it's somebody injecting something into their arm and it says fun. Mm-hmm. So it reminded me of the fun illustration. So I think it's actually a song about heroin. Maybe the temptation of heroin.
Whoa!
Especially being that heroin was a real scourge on Victorian Vancouver punk scenes. Took out a lot of people's friends. So I kind of wonder whether there was a little bit of a reference there.
How about that?
It's just that temptation is there. I know you. You're just like me. Don't look at me. You don't look at me. The shame. I think the song, whoever's singing it, it's the Red Devil. It's the roommate. My eyes are green. My lips are red. Love me or you wind up dead. Fuck with me and I'll fuck with you. I'll fuck with anything that moves. No, it's that alter ego. It's the Hyde of the Jekyll and Hyde who's singing. Maybe you put your disease in me. Sort of again, maybe a song about addiction or doing something dangerous. Yeah, but I really, really like it. I mean, it's totally fun and fast, and I really wish that they'd put it onto a more polished version on an album. But you're right; it's definitely a fully formed song, and I don't know how it got binned somehow. It's pretty great.
Nice.
Binned.
What about you, Michelle? What are your thoughts on this sucker?
I think this song kicks its own ass. I think it's catchy. I think it's catchy and filled with tons of attitude. It'll sound weird, but when Rob plays one note for a bit, he's really not. To be able to put so much attitude and feeling on one note, I'm asking you all, can you feel it? Can you feel it? He's chugging, but he's also what the fugging. This is something that cannot be taught. It's groove, it's thunder and lightning. The way he cranks it is frightening. It's an awesome song that kills. And I figured out a couple of the lyrics that you guys were questioning. So
wanted to say, nobody wrote it down. I was unable to find, everybody has written out the lyrics. This is one of the few No Means No songs that does not have the lyrics. I could not find them anywhere on the internet. So we're trying to transcribe them ourselves.
Yeah.
That's right.
But I
Hit
have
us.
2 answers, even though I don't listen to lyrics much, if at all. But the one you were, maybe you can figure out where it was in the song, but I think he's saying checking up on me. I think it was like one of the first stanzas. Can you call that a stanza or part of the whatever the thing?
Yeah.
that
Checking
makes
up
sense.
on me.
That makes sense. You've been
Yeah,
checking
yeah.
up on me.
You've
You've
been
been talking shit.
checking
I
on
see.
me. Yes, that's
Totally.
the part. Yes,
Yep,
yes.
that's it.
And
You
then
got it.
and then another questionable area you were wondering about. I think he's saying I can't be fucked. That isn't love. Do you remember where that was in
Yeah,
the song?
yeah.
Does that make sense? Does
that
it?
does make sense.
I
Can
can't
you
be
be
fucked. That
fucked
isn't love
because
that
you-
you have been driven of. I know you. You're just
yeah,
like you
yeah,
don't
yeah.
look
But I can't be fucked. That isn't love. Can
That
you
sounds
not be
right.
fucked because you're not in love or love to be fucked? I don't know.
So the
not my
person on the
territory.
podcast who
But I have
least
really good ears.
identifies with lyrics has
I can
broken
hear
the
well,
lyrics
though.
wide open for us. So thank you for that. That's
I can
fucking
hear
great.
well, but I didn't do what Matthew did earlier with the Jodie Foster shit, man.
That's but I think
That's
you got it.
yeah. So yeah,
All right, nice. Well, okay, these are, I mean, fucking, how weird that these two total rarities came up against each other.
it's cool though.
It is cool. It's hella cool.
I'm gonna need the washer. I'm gonna need the washer.
I don't need the washer for this one. So I go first. This is me first.
Ooh.
And I appreciate Look Here Come the Wormies rather from a historical perspective. But now it's dark. It's just a fucking much better song. It's more evolved. I can't vote just out of nostalgia, especially a song that really holds no nostalgia for me because I just heard it. So all I have is sort of a vague appreciation for the fact that it's their origin story, which is great. And don't get me wrong, it's great in that sense. But Now It's Dark's a fucking banger. That's a fully formed, fucking great song and gave me a great mood today. So Now It's Dark for me, 100%. All right, Matthew, how about you?
Yeah, I think Wormies, it's a curio for sure. It's like an interesting thing to pop on your shelf and like kind of laugh at and everything like that. But Now It's Dark is a straight up, jumping around song. So I got to give it to Now It's Dark. I lament that it's so obscure.
Yeah. How about you, Michelle? What's your vote?
I did vote for Now It's Dark. However, it was tough for me because I can fall prey to the nostalgic type of things that you were kind of talking about, Jordan, earlier, where you like, I think there's some meat to that, and I want to give it its due, but musically, yeah, Now It's Dark is better, but I and that's what I'm going to vote for, but I have a very warm feeling and thought about the Wormies song. I mean, I just, it's...
See also Baldwin.
Yes.
Exactly.
You absolute lunatics. Yes. Absolutely. Well, shit, man. Unanimity. That's nice. We're ending this unanimously. But, listener, before we sign off, we are lucky enough to be able to hear yet another Andy's Correction Corner. Michelle, give me your little mouth music there.
What?
She's not going to do it this time. Yeah, there we go. That's it. All right, this time, Matthew, do us the honors of
where is
this,
it?
Matthew's got it.
I got it in front of me
okay.
here.
I don't get it. Okay.
So, little comments from our friend, our little bee in our bonnet. The latest from Butinsky Bob. No Fucking was written by Rob after No Sex. How much after? I couldn't say for sure, but within a year or two, likely. I can't recall if it was written as 2-piece or 3-piece. I'm thinking 2-piece. One thing I do know is that for years it was included in our set as a song before Predators. The two always went together. We tried recording Predators a couple times, including for Sex Mad. So Predators, a very old song. Wow. Anyway, sorry, get back into what Andy actually said. But for whatever reason, it seemed to fall flat in the studio. Live was another matter entirely, and so on record, at least, No Fucking began to lead its own little life. And then this is about my roommate's turning into a monster, referenced in Now It's Dark, I guess. I believe I've told you this before, but Roommate is my favorite No Means No song from the main riff's beginning, which really isn't the beginning.
Holy shit.
We should talk about this someday, Michelle. Through the twisted tale of sharing living arrangements up until the he's raising his hand against me climax, it's Rob and John at their best. And as a bonus, Robbie puts down what I think is his best guitar playing ever. Fear and Loathing, Sexual Politics, a B-movie horror title, Roommate has it all for me. A claustrophobic slice of everyday life drama, and I should also mention, it continues John's tradition of sound effects found in various No Means No recordings, for better and for worse. In this case, sublime.
Wow.
Nice. Once again, thank you, Andy.
Jeez.
Fucking great to hear that insight.
Come on.
And how fucking crazy and interesting that's his favorite No Means No song.
I know. What?
It's pretty great.
Wow.
It's pretty great. All
Who
right.
knew?
Damn. Well, listen, we are almost we're exactly at an hour before I put in any clips. So I thought this was going to be a short episode, but it's right up there with the rest. Apparently,
no way.
We can't keep our mouths fucking shut even on
Nope.
any song. That's all right. I guess that's why you keep
Passion,
listening.
baby. It's passion.
So remember to reach out and poke us or tickle us or slap us on the social plagues. You got the we have our own little No Means No page now, which has got a nice little community of folks growing every day, which love to see you there. That's the No Means No Thing podcast over on that most ridiculous of platforms, Facebook, which yes, we hate as much as you, but hey, it's good for a few things. We're over at No Means Nothing on Instagram and Twitter. Find us there, hit us up, keep track of our comings and goings. And I just kind of have one question for everyone out there. I just kind of want to know which part you like the best. I like the heart the best.